What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Limited Resources. This episode number 817. My name is Marshall. I'm one of your Limited Resources, and joining me on the line all the way from Denver, Colorado, it's Luis Scott-Vargas. Luis, welcome back. We missed you last week.
Yeah. Well, let's just say the powers of Chion and us combined can lead to some scheduling stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it all on Paul, but I also don't think it's all on us.
Well, sometimes you need to have your crystal chandelier installed, and
that's true.
You got to move stuff around. Yeah, we had a good chat with Paul, but happy to have you back, of course, Luis. We're going to be doing our draft walkthrough episode this week for Edge of Eternities. So we're going to be doing 2 booster drafts on the show. I'll be walking you through on audio for people that aren't looking at a screen. But if you are, especially on YouTube, you can actually watch the draft itself as it goes. And we do these ones once per set cycle because they're fun. And also because, the crack-a-packs that we do, we use them as like discussion starters. And we, of course, do ultimately make a pick, which is hopefully informative to you about how we approach the format. You can kind of compare and contrast with how you do it. But ultimately, the picks change dramatically based on what you've already taken. And so the pack one, pick one scenario is interesting and useful, but it degrades pretty quickly unless you're like actually doing a draft. So that's what we're going to do today. Before we get into those, we did want to say thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. Our Patreon is patreon.com/limitedresources. And we just want to say thanks. It really means a lot to us for everybody who supports us over there. We also want to say thank you to Ultimate Guard. They make the best stuff in the business. If you need ways to protect your cards, your decks, your collection, you can find it at Ultimate Guard. I mean, they make sleeves, deck boxes, binders, backpacks, kind of take you through the whole gamut from the card level all the way up to your whole collection. So you can keep them in pristine condition, organized, etc. They use premium materials for their stuff. You can feel that in the sleeves, in the deck boxes. You can tell that they put a lot of effort into designing and picking the right stuff to put these products together. And they have a full line of products. You can find them at ultimateguard.com, or you can go to your favorite online retailer or favorite local game store to actually pick up their products. Thank you, Ultimate Guard. One of the perks that you get for being a Patreon supporter of ours is that whenever we have a guest, or if we do our Q&A episodes, where we answer questions about Magic and other things, you get to put up questions for that. And one other thing you get to do along that same vein is you can put up a question in our Patreon question of the week thread. We try to answer one per week. We just like doing it. This one comes from Jordan, who says, in regular sets, Wizards of the Coast puns or super resonant designs create small moments of joy or excitement. It was a bit unfortunate hearing you go through the Final Fantasy set review and missing many of the references. It's to be expected, but it had me feeling sad as many of those references were taking the place of the typical puns or top-down designs. Now that you've had a chance to experience this with Final Fantasy, did this end up impacting your impression of the set? You've previously indicated you didn't think it would be a big deal, but curious whether it's played out as you expected. Yeah, I think it did, at least for me. I never got the jokes unless somebody explained them to me. And then when they did, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And even then I was like, I don't get the reference to the joke. But I didn't think it would matter, and it didn't. I guess I missed out on a little bit of clever design there, and I do appreciate that. But as I said in the review, and what both of us were referring to, and we said that isn't really mission critical for us, is that what I really cared about is the set and how it played in draft and limited in general. And that set was very good and played really well. And frankly, I just, the rest I don't care about. If you check those boxes, if it's, balanced, fun, interesting, build arounds, all of the check boxes that we talk about, the things that can come together to make a good set, if they check those, the artwork, sure. Like, I appreciate nice artwork, but I don't care. Like, if the set plays awesome, whatever, you could put stick figures on it, and the same thing with the top down designs or the references. Well,
you say that, but you would enjoy that set list too. I had that conversation with Ben Stark a bunch of times. It actually is not true that you would be cool with a stick figure artwork set.
Well,
but
I wouldn't like it.
That's aside the point.
But what I'm saying is that it's so much more important to me that the set's, fundamentally good from a gameplay perspective, that the other stuff really does fall behind. You're totally right. I would much prefer to have
I don't want
artwork.
to quibble because I think I agree with you like 95% here, but I think that the art is actually like way bigger than you might think.
Okay.
I just come from an experience of playing a lot of playtest games, like the games in development. And when the art is like obviously placeholder or bad or whatever, or very similar to each other, it actually takes away so much more of the experience than you would consider. Like there's just so much more fun there. Even for someone like you, Ben is a little bit of a different case because Ben is like one of the weirdest people I've ever met.
And I really like the art. I really enjoy the art. Yeah.
I think that you would find the art missing to be much more painful than
that's interesting. Yeah, I've never played a set. The closest I've got was what was that subset of a subset? The ones with the
mystery, the convention,
the mystery things. Yeah, and they had they actually had stick figure style art.
But that was also on like 1 out of every 12 cards or whatever.
Yeah,
and that's fine. That's a different story entirely.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to derail you.
No, that's interesting.
I basically do agree.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that though, because I've never played with that, so you might absolutely have a point. But yeah, fundamental point, they stuck the landing on that, and that's what I cared about. And no, I didn't end up getting any of the references outside of the ones that were explained. What about you, Luis? Did those references fall on deaf ears for you?
Completely deaf, because I watched my brother play almost the entirety of like Final Fantasy VII, but I haven't really watched any other Final Fantasy, and I can't say I noticed a whole lot, but it didn't really take a lot away from my enjoyment either.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I like have, having done this.
I have an aside here. Andrew Brown just posted like a couple days ago on Twitter, and Mara retweeted him. They're like, hey, in Edge of Eternities, we tried showing 2 different versions of the same character to show like growth through the character. There's Tanuk, the gold 2/4, and also Tanuk, the mythic 3/5 that gives things haste and warp. And the answer is overwhelming. We were like, I didn't even notice. And that was true for me too. I didn't even notice.
I didn't either.
I can't say that I cared because I wasn't on my radar.
Yeah, these things are hard. I mean, they have a weird palette to work with when you're talking about a whole set, because, if you put those cards right next to each other, maybe you'd be like, oh, okay. But like when you play a game, what are you going to draft both of those and have them right next to each other? Not very often. And not a lot of people are going to sit there and like try to decode on that level when it doesn't affect them, so that it kind of doesn't surprise me, I guess. I do have one big picture point about Jordan's question, which I think is revealing, which is that since they are clearly jumping down the path of the universes beyond type sets where using other IP, this is going to be really common. Jordan was saying that he was a little disappointed that we didn't, pick up on those references. But it's really interesting because, Jordan, maybe you're like a big fan of Final Fantasy, but, they're going to come out with a set that you're kind of like, yeah, that's not really my thing. And that's going to happen to, like, Final Fantasy has a large overlap with Magic, obviously not 100%. I'm not in that, and Luis is only partially. But it is one of the bigger ones. Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy, like these are 2 of the ones that they've done so far. And it's because they have such a massive overlap. But as we go further down this road, these ones are low-hanging fruit. Like these are the ones that like are the no-brainers, but we're going to get into more niche territory as it goes. And I think this is going to become the norm, where there's going to be big chunks of the audience that are like, I don't get the joke, but this set still has to serve them as well. And, this one did.
Well, I do want to say, though, there's a difference between I don't get the joke and I miss the joke. And we mostly miss the jokes. That's a way less bad world. The inside jokes are perfect. I love inside jokes when I'm writing articles, when I'm doing videos, recording podcasts. Because if you can slip in a joke that means nothing to 95% of people and a lot to 5%, that's a huge win. The problem is when you say something that the 95% know is some sort of weird joke or reference and don't get it.
So it's the slipping it in. That is
actually important because let's say we look at Final Fantasy and we don't really know the lore behind these cards, but they just make sense as Magic cards. That's awesome. if they don't make sense without playing Final Fantasy, which is definitely not where they landed, I think that's more of a drawback. I don't think it's that bad that we didn't get a lot of the things going on in the Final Fantasy set because it didn't really feel dissonant to us. Look, sometimes you do end up in a spot where it's like, there's a joke that this guy with wings can't fly, and then they make a magic card of the guy and he doesn't fly. And it's like, oh, why doesn't this fly? But that's not that big of a deal. They make a lot of things that look like they should fly and don't.
Yeah.
And then the people who know the joke are like, oh, no, you don't get it. The joke is this dragon's afraid to fly, or something like that.
Right.
So, but it's a lot worse when it's like, wow, this card is complicated and incomprehensible. There must be something I'm missing because it's had some like bizarre reference,
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if they continue to do that where I can kind of just skate through and I'm not fully aware that I missed the joke, then I think that's
I think that's
better.
like a win-win. I think people don't like being left out of jokes, but jokes that are kind of like under the radar, they're totally fine.
Yeah. Luis,
I just don't think there's much of a cost there.
We did
the biggest cost when you miss all the jokes in a set is that like maybe you would have liked the set more if you understood the jokes, but that is what it is. I do think they're supposed to put these jokes and references. Why are you doing this if you're not doing that?
Totally, you have to. Yeah, and I think it just will become the norm that there will be chunks of the audience that don't get all of them, and I think that's fine. Like you said, as long as it's not everybody else in the room laughing and I'm going like I'm the only one who doesn't understand. That is to be avoided, but everything else is fine. Luis, we lost your camera. I don't know if it turned off or what, but just FYI. Okay, we've got.
Should be better now, though. I did turn off Dropbox and all that stuff.
Yeah, no worries. You're good. So we had an arena open on the weekend.
Sure did.
And me, you, and Paul all played it. We were messaging. I'll tell you about mine. It was pretty straightforward, but I had a super, super busy day on Saturday, so I was kind of like gone all day. But when I came home in the evening, I was like, well, I got to take a few shots at this thing, right? And I fired it up, and I had like 3 runs where I didn't make it. I think I got close on one or something. And I was like, okay, I'll do one more. And I don't know. I think I got to 3 wins with it. And then I had to do something. And then it was like, okay, it's like legit late. Like it's past midnight now. So I was like, and I was tired and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm making this my last run. I have a good start with it. It's a fine deck. If it doesn't get there, I'm going to resist the urge to rebuy, and I'm going to go to bed. and so I played it out, and I did end up qualifying on it. So that was really great. But it was like, I don't know, 1:30 or something by the time I finished up. I usually set my alarm for 7:30, which is kind of like the latest safe window. You have to be drafting by 8, and like I don't want to cut it too close. But
do you not know how this works? Am I about to level you up?
Yeah.
You just have to join by 8 o'clock your time. You don't have to draft. You can join and leave the queue.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
I thought I had to be done with the draft.
No. Look, I'm not saying it's your fault. Their system is bad and complicated. I mean, sometimes I draft in the morning, but sometimes I just join, leave. It is awkward. You have to join, leave. But yeah, you can join, leave. You have until like noon or 1 p.m. actually, I think your time. Either noon or 1 p.m. your time to have completed everything. But like you could draft at 10 a.m. It's fine. You're not going to run out of... Like I haven't drafted much later than 10 because I worry that A, there won't be enough for the draft, and B, that I'll get all my matches. But like you could draft at 10, 11 maybe. Wow. I don't know. 11's probably...
You're like a savior, Lou. I did not... So what I thought you had to finish your draft, and then I knew you could like delay doing your matches. But what happened to me every time is that I'd wake up, I would wearily join the queue, I would like forget my first 2 picks, but then kind of like, okay, let's go. And then I would draft the deck. And then I'm like, yes, I know I could go back to sleep. Now it's 8:15 or whatever. But now I'm like, well, now I want to play. Like, am I getting there? Because if I try to go back to sleep, but I've got this deck waiting for me, and like, am I gonna make it to the second draft? And that whole thing. I was always like, oh, screw it, I'm just gonna play. And anyway, that's what I did this time as well. I ended up drafting a kind of just a right through the middle green-white deck. They were the colors that were the most open, but it was pretty underwhelming going into pack 3. Pack 3 actually helped me out a lot. I picked up 2 of the Banisher Priest guy and and a few other uncommons that were adding to my power level pretty significantly. I toyed around with a couple of splashes in the first 2 packs since I wasn't green and could get away with it, but I ended up just being straight up green white. And I felt okay about it, right? These are the type of decks that like they don't have that raw power that you really hope for, but at the same time I had good mana, it was playable, my curve was good. I kind of had all the fundamentals in place. So, and I would give the deck a thumbs up, but not 2, it was like a B or something. And so I went into my first round and I faced the mirror, and I was very well set up for the mirror. And so I won that pretty easily. And then I won the next round too. So I'm like 2-0 and I'm like, okay, are we doing it today? Is this the thing? And then I faced a very good blue black deck that really kind of destroyed me. It was like not that close. And I was like, okay, all right, one more shot, let's go. And then I played against a blue red deck, and man, yeah, they were doing it. They had some of those turns, where you're just going like, oh my God, like they just did all the things. Their deck was significantly better than mine, and they 2-0'd me pretty easy. And so I did not make it to the second draft, unfortunately. I kind of tricked myself after that second win of thinking like maybe this is just going to all come together, but then reality kind of slapped me in the face, and I went back to sleep. What about you?
Well, I first of all, didn't have to play day 1 because last Arena Open, there was a connection issue on their side where it showed you that you weren't in the game, but you actually were. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting a DC and complained to them, and sort of like, so they gave me a refund and entry into day 2 of the next Open. Okay.
Were you kind of bummed, or were you relieved not to have to do the sealed? I like this is one of the,
I effectively played a bunch of sealed because BK was hanging out and I was watching him play. So
okay, I guess that answers that.
Best of both worlds. And I end up not making day 2, drafting like black white, solid deck, nothing too exciting, but it had a pretty good curve and some decent amount of removal, and some good stuff. Lose round 1, like I win game 1, lose the other 2. Next round, win game 1. Game 2, my opening hand is the 5-mana Edict spacecraft.
Yeah.
And the Search for Survivors, the like sorcery that gets back a creature and gives you a lander, and you have to sack a creature artifact, and 5 lands. Mm-hmm. So I click Mulligan, but I got hit by another bug. I even had a video, like I tweeted this out. You can go watch it. It just kept my hand, and then I lost.
Seriously, you hit Mulligan and it just kept.
So I think the bug was after people on Twitter saw it. First of all, the detectives slowed it down, and you can see the mouse jump and click on the keep button. Mm-hmm. But it's because, as far as I understand, there's an issue where if you alt tab away from Reno and you alt tab back in, your mouse is actually in the position of where it was, like a different position. So I was like, oh, wow, this is great. I'm just going to lose another Arena Open day 2 to just bugs or whatever. So
wow.
Yeah, it was.
You must have been so frustrated. That
it wasn't fun,
man. That's awful.
And then I was trying to tell my friends about it, and Marshall wasn't even paying attention. So
apparently not. Well, but I was saving it for content for the show, I guess. But
yeah, it worked out. It was brutal, I will say. So not what I would call a good time.
Is that a reportable thing, or how does that work?
I'm going to try to get some kind of compensation for it, because I think it's that seems to be on them, but their customer service website is broken, so I can't actually file a thing, because every time I try to complain, it makes me log in and kicks me back to my profile screen. Then when I click on to submit a ticket, it says you got to log in. So I log in, it kicks me back to my profile. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's
this is just comical at this point.
On the plus side, I think maybe I'm going to get some of the Arena Direct boxes I had to email them 17 times about.
So, you're going to get them. Sweet.
Well, maybe. I haven't gotten them yet.
Okay.
So, I am not impressed with their selection of digital objects or, kind of how it's all working, because it is not. Man.
It feels like that site is trying to do too many things. How like over time, especially in a business, something will start out with one purpose, and then it'll kind of like get another one, and then get another one, and then it kind of grows. But in the meantime, the people that are behind it are like, rolling off and on or quitting or whatever. And then all of a sudden it just becomes this thing that is like, so by the way, I know of what I speak, cause I used to work at AT&T on their website. Right. And this thing was a monstrosity, right? Like it was trying to cover I was working on the wireless site, but even then it had all these like legacy things that were just attached on. And, I got to work on the back end of it. Like I saw when you clicked buttons, when you entered, when you put, forms in and things like that. I know where they were going, what calls they were making, what they were trying to do. And I mean, it was spaghetti. It was trying to mesh together old stuff, new stuff, all this other things. And that kind of thing can happen in a big corporate space. And it kind of feels like their site for that is like that when, I got the thing for the last Arena Direct, I won those boxes and I got the email for it or whatever. And it worked. Like, to be fair to them, it worked. But you can tell when a website's thinking about something and you're going, what are you checking on? Like, this is a very simple transaction and it's kind of like redirecting you and taking you to some other thing. And I just had the same vibe from when I worked at AT&T on that. I'm sure you'll get your product. Like they ultimately do come through on that. I hope you do get another chance.
There's no real compensation for the Arena Open.
I know.
Because like entry into day 2, it doesn't really mean much to me.
No.
I make day 2 every time. I don't care that I have to maybe do some runs. And it's not like those are not even fun. So it's like, instead what ends up happening is they just kind of waste the time I had on the weekend while being, extremely frustrating. So
that's the main thing, right? Is that it's the opportunity cost of what you could do with a weekend. Because Arena Opens, I mean, they're a 2-day thing. Like they're, sometimes you get there on an early run on the sealed, but sometimes it takes a bunch. And, that's a commitment. And, like I was complaining about having to get up early, but like that does matter to me. Like I went to bed at 1:30, I got up at 7:30 and realistically I woke up before that because I was like seeing if my alarm went off. And also realistically, I went to bed past 1:30. That was when I finished the thing. So I got like 5 hours of sleep or something, which is, I can do that, but it's supposed to be.
Well, now that you know that you can join and not play the draft.
I can't decide if I'm like glad that you told me or mad that you didn't tell me sooner.
You're glad because it will be better for you eventually.
It will be better.
You've already done the dumb thing. That doesn't change that. But now you might get to not do that.
You really know how to make a guy feel better. All right, let's jump into our drafts, Luis.
Is that my job?
Yeah, it is. You're like one of my best friends, man. Although you did just give me extremely useful advice. So you checked the best friend box today. You're good. Now, Woody, we got to talk to him, but should we start with a premiere or a traditional?
Yeah.
What do you think? Premiere?
Yeah, let's just do premiere.
All right, let's jump in.
That's where I believe above 90% of the listeners plays. I
think so too. I don't know for sure, but I do think so. I've been drafting a lot of black red.
Yeah. Black red. I mean the intersector mechan or whatever the raised dead one is just so nice.
Okay, pack one, pick one. Our rare is Lightstall Inquisitor. That's the white 2/1 vigilance, and you get a card from their hand and make them pay more. We have another rare. It's Mightform Harmonizer. It's the 2GG 4/4, and landfall doubles its power. Then we got Honored Knight Captain, Ilvoy Infiltrator, Monoist Sentry, that's the 401 Defender, and a Melt Strider Eulogist at uncommon. Commons, there's a Graph Pack Monoist, Orbital Plunge.
I mean, the Mightform Harmonizer is quite good. That card
I've been impressed by it too, and I like green.
Yeah, green's great too. The stats are good. I mean, I think that's pretty clear at this point. And
okay.
Like, as in stats that your creatures have. It's good to have big creatures in the end. This one, the warp part doesn't do like tons, but every now and then it can, and you can go pretty hard on doubling out something's power sometimes.
Yeah,
like
it's 3 mana.
There are some moves you can make,
Yeah. All right, so we'll take the Harmonizer. Next up is, we got a mythic rare. It's the Black Planet. It's Susur Secundi Void Altar. That's the one where you can pay 1 and a black, tap it, pay 2 life, and sack a creature, and you draw cards equal to its power at sorcery speed, but it does take 12 to get that planet running. There's a Banishing Light. There's Gene, Pollinator. Uthros scan ship. There's the threaten effect systems override. Just Gene here? Are you stoked on the...
No, I'm not going to take the Boil Altar here. I actually think some of those lands are pretty good. I would probably take Gene. You could definitely take Vanishing Light here.
Yeah.
I think that's a totally reasonable thing. I like Gene Pollinator a lot. I
do too, man.
I like starting in one color. So I would lean towards doing that.
I would too. I do think it's close. I agree with Banishing Light. I do like Banishing Light quite a bit. All right, we're going to take Gene. Next, we did get one of the alternate lands. It's Dust Bowl. And then uncommons, there's an Uthrost Psionicist. That's the 2/4 that makes your second spell cheaper. A Timeline Color, which is a 2/2 haste for 2 that you can warp back. Green cards, there's an Ice Cave Crasher, the 4-mana 4/4 Trampler with landfall, gets +1/+0. Other colors, there's a Nebula Dragon and a Grav Pack Monoist. Again, the 2/1 flyer that dies into a 2/2, or the 7-mana 4/4 flyer that bolts something on ETB.
I mean, the Nebula Dragon is very good, and I think I would take the Psionicist. I like blue-green. I like the Psionicist a pretty good amount. You can almost always set it up that you cast this plus something else in the same turn, and it's like you only spent 1 mana on this.
Yeah.
And then even if they kill it, you ended up with a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah, and it's a 2/4, like decent stats. All right, we'll take it. Next up, uncommon, there's a Broodguard Elite. That's the GGX that does counters, and you can warp it, and on end step, when it goes away, the counters go on one of your guys. There's a Lost in Space and a Desculpting Blast. The Desculpting Blast is the unsummon that you can get a 1/1 flyer if the thing was attacking.
Big fan of Desculpting Blast. I wouldn't take the Space-Time Anomaly here, though. That card is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's the mill card for 2 white blue.
Yeah, and the Broodguard Elite, I think, is just a lot worse than Desculpting Blast, so I think I would just run that one.
Yeah, I like the cheap interaction there, too. And the times when you get a flyer out of the deal, which is often, are pretty dang good. Lost in Space, again, was the other notable. There's also an Ice Cave Crasher in our color here, another one. All right, next one up, there's a Shambling Vent, which we're not really close to. There is another Desculpting Blast. There's Cloud Sculpt Technician. That's the 1/4 flyer that gets +1/+0 if you have a artifact, which has been meh. There's an Ilvoy Operative. That's the one that if you cast your second spell, it gets a counter. For 1 and a blue. And then there's a Drix Fate Maker, which is 3 and a G, 3/2 that puts a counter on a thing. And it also warps for 1 and a green, so you get a counter out of that. And things that have counters get trample if this guy's around. I like that card too, but maybe just another blast.
I would just take another Desculpting Blast, which I think is very good in blue-green. And also, if you've taken 3 blue cards in a row after taking green cards the first 2 picks, it's possible green's getting cut and you could pivot into another color, though there's some good cards in this pack too.
Yeah, next pack in green, we've got Broodguard Elite, again, the X creature. There's also a Hemosymbic Might, the green 1/1 that when it becomes tapped, another creature gets +X for X is its power. There's also a Cryo Shatter, which I like quite a bit. And then in other colors, there's a Vault Guard Trooper. That's the 4 and a red 5/5 at the beginning of your end step. If you voided, you can discard your hand and draw 2. Hymn of the Faller, too.
Yeah, so for me, it's between Cryo Shatter, Broodguard Elite, and Smite. I think you could take any of those.
Okay, I'll just take the Shatter.
Oh, blue is open. Look at this.
Holy smokes. This pack has a Gigastorm Titan. That's the 4 and a blue 4/4, but it costs 3 less if you cast another spell this turn. And best common in the set, Cryogen Relic.
Yeah, I would probably take the Cryogen Relic here. I mean, the Gigastorm Titan's also very good. You certainly could.
I think it's close between these two. I think I'd take the Relic. We do have the Gene Pollinator and the Relics. It's a good friend.
Well, I'm also not that convinced that we want to be green.
Sure.
The last couple picks have had Broodguard Elites, but that's not that
Wow. Pack 1, pick 8. There's still a Cryogen Relic here?
Yeah, this is perfect. Because now we have 6 high-quality blue cards, and then the 2 green cards we took picks 1 and 2. Blue seems open, green does not. We don't have a strong reason to pick a second color or anything.
No, we don't. Right now, our deck is Cryo Shatter, Gene Pollinator, Cryogen Relic, 2D Sculpting Blast, Uthros Psionicist, and the Harmonizer. And then we're going to have 2 Cryogen Relic now. Pack 1, pick 9. This is our wheel pack. Uncommon Ilvoy Infiltrator came back. That's the 2 and a blue 1/3 that if it hits them, you draw a card and it can't be blocked if you've cast 2 or more spells this turn. There's also Mental Modulation And there's a mono with Sentry still. I'm just going to take the Infiltrator. Is that
yeah?
fine?
Take the Infiltrator.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, we're kind of on the thing, aren't we?
But it does some good stuff. And look, there's a scan ship and a Gale Blade here, so I would take scan ship.
I would too. Yeah, Uthros scan ship, the 3 and a blue ETBs, draw 2, discard a card, and then you can 8 station it to get a 4/4 flyer out of the deal. And then Gale Blade, the 1/1 flyer for 1 that you can sack for 2 and draw a card. That would actually go well. Now that I say that, we get one out of the next pack. That would go fine in this deck too. So, wow, blue definitely delivering. So reading the signals. Now the question is, where do we want to go from here? We've got 2 more picks. Oh, the Lost in Space pack 12 or pick 12.
That is absurd.
Dude, what is going on?
I mean, blue is the openest I've ever seen it.
Me too. We got a Cloud Sculpt Technician last. Sure. Okay. Well, we've got a whole lot of blue cards and we're pretty open. Let's see what pack 2 pick 1 brings us. We've got Corral or Coral of the Void. That's the aura for 3 and a black, and you attack, you can grab one of their creatures. What's that?
Horrendous card.
And
that card has
it's been bad, right? Yeah. Invasive Maneuvers, Roving Actuator, and another Hemosymbic Might. Last uncommon though, Larval Scoutlander. If we do want to stay in green, blue cards in the pack, there's only one. It's Mech and Shieldmate. And then there's a Plasma Bolt and a Diplomatic Relations for removal as well. Just Scoutlander here? Or?
I mean, look, I don't think we have a strong reason to stay green, but it's the best card in the pack. I mean, Invasive Maneuvers is pretty good too, but Scoutlander is better. I don't really see a reason to go elsewhere. Like, we do have 2 good green cards. Like, all things being equal, we should just stay green.
Funny, another Coral of the Void here, pack 2, pick 2. There's also a Tractor Beam. As far as blue and green cards, if that is where we end up, there's an Intrepid Tenderfoot, the 2 mana 2/2 that you can pay 3 to put a counter on it. And there's an Illvoid Light Jammer, the equipment that gives +1/+2. And then the turn 8 ETBs it equips and gives hexproof as well. I would just take Tractor Beam though, right?
Yeah, Tractor Beam's fine.
Yeah.
Really good against like Sasuran Voidborn and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some really shockingly good targets for it, right? That just... Like I took the 4 mana 5 the 5 mana 5/5 that if you void you can discard your hand. I took that from my opponent and just reloaded multiple times. Pack 2 pick 3, another Gene Pollinator. There's a Self-Craft Mechan and a Divert Disaster just in our core colors. There's also your favorite, the Nutrient Block. There is interestingly a Menomenon Uthros Exile that we could, I don't know, maybe dabble in, but I kind of feel like we just want to stay the path here. Yeah.
Actually be inclined to take the Gene Pollinator because you have, with all this cheap stuff you have, like Self-Craft Mechan is good, but Gene Pollinator, like, it just is going to make this deck flow, and you have double Cryogen Relic, and Larval Scoutlander, so some pretty decent card advantage mechanisms. Like, it seems like if you can get on the board early, you're just going to be able to curve out really nicely here. You have a scan ship, and here this pack has another Uthros scan ship, as well as an Atmospheric Greenhouse. That's the one, the vehicle that puts or the spaceship that puts a counter on all your creatures. That card's not been great.
No, but this might be an okay spot for it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have tons of creatures.
No. I do like the Drix Fate Maker. I don't mind running one of those in my deck. We could just take another scan ship.
I would probably just take another scan ship. It's so good with the Gene Pollinators. I mean, sure, the Greenhouse can also do that, but like double Gene Pollinator plus a bunch of good ways to draw cards is a good way to, like, in the Psionicist too, just get out faster and then have more cards than them. And look at this, the perfect payoff. Mouth of the Storm, 5th pick. I mean, blue is open. Green is not even really open from either direction, but it's fine. You can play your 7 green cards and 15 blue cards or 16 blue cards. And you'll have a totally fine deck.
Pick 2, pick 5, Mouth of the Storm. That's the 7 mana 6/6 flying ward 2 and ETBs. Your opponent's creatures get -3/-0 until your next turn. Really nice top end threat for a deck like this, especially with the double Gene. And there's a Lost in Space in this pack too, and I normally would not even bring it up, but I guess it's technically wheelable. All right, finally kind of a brick here. This is pack 2, pick 6. We got Nesting Grounds as our alternate land. In green cards, there's a Germinating Worm and a Thawbringer. That's the 4/2. And then blue cards, there's a Cloud Sculpt Technician. Just take a Thawbringer, I guess.
Thawbringer's fine.
Yeah. Sure. We'll take
I don't think... I'm really unimpressed with that worm, by the way. I have not.
Yeah, the worm's been mid. Oh man, Zookeeper Mechan, Pack 2, Pick 7. There's blue cards though. There's a Mechan Assembler. That's the 4 and a blue 4/4. And whenever another artifact ETBs, you get a 2/2.
How many artifacts do you have though?
Yeah, good question. Let me take a quick look.
Doesn't
I have
seem like
7 right now. There's also Mechanizo.
That's not so bad. I think I would take it here.
I'm gonna
You don't need to
speculate.
get a lot of tokens out of this. And,
Look,
look,
another one.
the next pack has another. And I want to get back on my soapbox here. There's a contested war zone in this pack. That's the land that when your opponent hits you, they take the land. Don't play this card. I've had 2 people play it against me. It's not a good card.
Oh,
really bad.
2 non-listeners. Oh, that's brutal.
I would hope so.
That is rough. Yeah. Anytime you can play a land and your opponent can steal it from you. Oh, wow. Pack 2, Pick 9, our wheel. We got the Might.
Yeah, I would take the Might. You have double Gene Pollinator, and you have, 2 scan ships and a Larval Scoutlander. So you have 5 ways to tap it. That card can do some things.
It can definitely do stuff, especially if you can get a counter on it. Like if you could just throw around +2/+2, it does work. Pack 2, Pick 10, there's an Ilvoy Light Jammer and an Intrepid Tenderfoot. I guess I'll just take the Jammer because it's an artifact and we have 2 Mechan Assemblers. So
sure.
If we're desperate. A Nutrient Block.
Yeah, you could play that.
Yeah, I like Divert Disaster too. I routinely play it, but I really like Nutrient Block in general, and with 2 Mechan Assemblers, I like it a lot. Okay, and then another Cloud Sculpt Technician bringing up the rear. There is one more pick here, and it is a Caveron Turbo Drone. Okay, so our deck right now is looking pretty good. It is straight up blue-green, and we got a Starfield Vocalist at the rare. There's also a Meltstrider's Resolve here. This is pretty... Oh, there's a Pinnacle Kill Ship.
I do like Kill Ship.
What do we
I
have?
also like Meltstrider's Resolve, but you don't have the best creatures, right?
Yeah, they're not that big. And I guess there's not a ton of ETB.
No, I don't think you're taking that.
Does the Vocalist make the Mechan Assemblers double trigger?
Oh, yeah, it would.
Well, let's just take the Kill Ship. What do you think?
I would just take the Pinnacle Kill Ship. Although Meltstrider's Resolve is tempting, I would take the Kill Ship, I think.
Yeah, that's close. Pack 3, Pick 2. There's a Fungal Colossus and an Ice Cave Crasher in green. There's an Ilvoy Galeblade and a Nanoform Sentinel in blue. There's a Virus Beetle that we would play all dang day if we could cast this stupid thing.
Yeah. I mean, here you probably are just taking the Ice Cave Crasher. Like,
sure.
It's tough because you want artifacts. And there is, maybe you take the Nanoform Sentinel. Like, you have 3 different ships.
Yeah, that's true.
And untapping the Hemostatic Might, I think that's fine.
Okay, so we're comboing
none of these cards
off.
are cards I'm excited about,
Yeah. I like this. Combo. So we're going to take Nanoform Sentinel. Which one is this one?
That's the Tolarian Academy land. You don't want that. But you might want the Giga Chad here. Gigastorm Titan is nice.
Yeah, there's a Cryo Shatter that we would be interested in, but I really like the Gigastorm Titan here. Again, that's the 5 mana 4/4 that costs 3 less if it's your second, if you've already cast a spell. And we've got a really low curve here. Right now, we have 6 1-drops. And they're all good too. Like
Turn 1 Gene Pollinator, turn 2 1-drop into Titan.
Oh, GG. So we're going to take the
Pretty
Titan.
Nice, right?
Yeah. I like that. Next up, another one. Gigastorm Titan number 2. Let's just combo.
I like it. This is great.
This is really cool. There's a Selfcraft Mechan and a Tapestry Warden in this pack that are, they catch your eye a little bit, but Giga Chad, faux show. This is sweet. We've got Cryo Shatter, Ilvoy Galeblade, 2 Gene Pollinator, Hemosymbic Might, and Nutrient Block at the 1. Like, that is stacked up. And then 2s are good too. We've got double Cryogen Relic, double Desculpting Blast, Ilvoy Light Jammer, which probably won't make the cut. Oh, here's an interesting one. Pack 3, Pick 5, Cerebral Download. Do we want a full-on card draw spell here?
Just play another Galeblade. Kind of feels like that's more where you're at. I don't know.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'm always skeptical of the download. I feel like that's not really the the mode of card advantage that I prefer in the set. I mean, it's a fine card, and we will have a good number of artifacts, so we have to consider it. But yeah, let's just make it 7 1-drops. Wow, pack 3, pick 6, another Cryogen Relic. Do we want this Mechan? No, we want the Relic still, right?
Yeah, I would just keep taking relics, I think.
I wouldn't mind one of these Mechans with, now triple Relic, but...
Yeah.
I still think we just take it,
but
though.
I think you just probably take the Relic.
Yeah, double Gene Pollinator, triple Cryogen Relic. Like, we're making mana. Ooh, Mechanozoa?
I don't know if that's better than Close Encounter, though. Again, you don't have tons of creatures, but removal spell's nice. You don't have a ton of removal.
Yeah, let's take Close Encounter. That's the bite spell that you can also do with warped things. I would like a Mechanozoa. There's also a nutrient block that we'd probably play, but we are definitely light on interaction. We've got the 2 bounce spells, or 3 of them. Oh, and right as I say that, pack 3, pick 8, there's a Cryo Shatter here.
Yeah, no, that does the trick.
Is that our 8th 2, 4, 5, 6? That's our 8th 1-drop. Man, we're going to be able to get these, the Gigas Chad going like pretty easily. All right, pack 3, pick 9. Our wheel pack has an Ilvoy Lightjammer and a Thawbringer, as well as a Wormwall Sweeper, which is kind of no, right? We just don't. I don't want any of these.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to want to play that, and I don't think you're going to. I mean, you're at way too many cards already. Blue was so open. Green was really not that open, to be honest. But
ooh, Cryo Shatter, pack 3, pick 11.
Sure. I don't know that you're going to play 3 Cryo Shatters, but you could.
Yeah.
How are you actually winning this game, I guess? Take the 3/4. Take the 3/4.
Oh, yeah. We
Tapestry Warden.
The Tapestry Warden actually wheeled.
Totally fine card, and you've got a bunch of spacecraft, and you make your Gene Pollinators into 2/2s.
Yeah, and it's an artifact, right? So it triggers the guys. Okay, so I'm going to read through what we've got right now, and then we'll start narrowing it down. So all of our cards in our pile are green or blue. We don't have any like straight up, off-color stuff. So we've got 3 Cryo Shatter, 3 Ilvoy Galeblade, 2 Gene Pollinator, a Hemosymbic Mite, and a Nutrient Block at 1. Then we've got 3 Cryogen Relic, 2 Desculpting Blast, the unsummon, an Ilvoy Lightjammer. I'm just going to take that out right now. A Close Encounter. And then at the 3s, we have a Cloud Sculpt Technician, an Ilvoy Infiltrator, the one that if you hit them, you draw a card, Nanoform Sentinel, Uthros Psionicist, Larval Scoutlander, and a Thawbringer. 4s, we have a Lost in Space, 2 Uthros Scanship, a Tractor Beam, a Tapestry Warden, and our pack 1, pick 1, the Might Form Harmonizer. 5, we've got 2 Gigachad Titan, 2 Mechan Assembler. And then actually they're both 7. We don't have any 6s. We've got the Mouth of the Storm and the Pinnacle Killship. Now here's the thing. If we were playing 17 lands, that's 51 cards right now. So we have 11 cuts. So this is a good opportunity, Luis, to maybe walk through. I know you like normally we would just go through and go kill this, kill this, kill this. But like, what are you thinking big picture that we want to be like more focused? Is it just cutting the weakest cards? Like how do you approach 11 cards needing to leave?
So part of it is like, well, what are the cards that like pull you in a certain direction? You have 2 Mechan Assemblers, so you want some amount of artifacts. Again, you don't need to go completely nuts, but you want some.
Mm-hmm. We have 14 right now, but 51 cards.
Yeah, you have 2 Gigastorm Titans, so you want to make sure you have cheap cards, which you have ample of. Other than that, you're just kind of looking at being, blue-green control kind of. Mm-hmm. And I think that my inclination here is to cut like cards that don't necessarily fit into either plan. Like, Cloud Sculpt Technician is one of your weaker cards, so you can cut that. Also, like 3 Cryo Shatter, 3 Galeblade. Like those cards are fine, but you might not. Like you don't for sure need 3 Galeblades. That I think is too
definitely not. So I'll cut 1 for sure, if not 2. I will play 1 of them.
Yeah, and then I'd also like you're not going to cut Gene Pollinators or Cryogen Relics or Gigastorm Titans or Mouth of the Storm or Pinnacle Killship or Might Form Harmonizers, all your best cards. Looking at kind of you have to cut so many cards. Like I can't imagine you're going to necessarily run Tapestry Warden. I like the Ilvoy Infiltrator. That one I think with all these cheap cards is actually pretty good. Thawbringer is pretty reasonable card to cut. Nanoform Sentinel is just probably don't have the room to play that. The third Cryo Shatter and like the second Gale Blade might also need to go. Nutrient Block can go. You're not doing anything with it.
Man,
you didn't get
Nutrient Block. How do you
self-craft mechans?
How can you tell me to cut that? I mean, but I mean, I will say that like the argument for Nutrient Block is that the two things that we want are cheap cards to get the Gigastorm Titans out and artifacts to trigger the mech assemblers, and it's both.
It's true.
Like, is it just better than Ilvoy Gale Blade?
Yeah, you could play it over Gale Blade, I suppose.
Okay, let's do that.
I generally like Gale Blade a good amount, but
I do too.
This seems fine.
Do we
Still
want
a couple
both?
Cards short?
Yeah, we're at 43 after cutting the cards that Luis just mentioned.
Close Encounter might be cuttable. I don't know.
So, like, what are our best things with it?
Do you have the Gigaform or the Gigastorm Titans? It's
We
pretty
do.
good at those.
We've basically got 5 4/4s that are good with the Close Encounter, or at least fine. But that's it. I mean, that really is it. Like, Mouth of the Storm's a 7-ball. Like, we can't really count on that. And Pinnacle Killship also 7. And the rest is like 2 4s and 1 3s and stuff like that. I wouldn't hate cutting it. I wouldn't feel great about cutting it, but I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, you have double Cryo Shatter, Lost in Space. So you have
Tractor Beam.
Tractor Beam. You have some decent interaction.
Okay, I'll cut it. That leaves us 2. Do we need 17 lands? Yes, right? We're playing.
You could play 16.
4 5 drops and 2 7s. Although we do have the double
Gene Pollinator,
and we're going to see a hell of a lot of cards, right? Like with the Cryogen relics and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut one.
You probably cut a island and just play 8/8.
Yeah, 8/8. Okay, one more card to cut.
It's tough. You just had a lot of playables.
Yeah, we just drafted extremely well.
It might still be Nutrient Block because you've triple Cryogen Relic. It kind of overlaps.
We're playing 2 of them currently.
No, Cryogen Relic.
I'm
saying the Nutrient Block.
Oh,
the sacking Nutrient Block overlaps with using Cryogen Relic. So I feel like your Gene Pollinator is still going to be pretty good. Okay. You still have another 2 more 1-drops. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll lean on the relics to fill that role. Okay. So here's our final deck. It's 2 Cryo Shatter, 2 Gene Pollinator, a Hemosymbic Might at 1. 2 drops, we've got 5 of them. 3 are Cryogen Relic somehow, and 2 are Desculpting Blast. 3s, we have the Ilvoy Infiltrator, the Uthro Psionicist, and the Larval Scoutlander. I forgot about that too. That's good to get up to 7. We've also got at 4, Lost in Space, Uthros Scanship ×2, a Tractor Beam, and a Might Form Harmonizer. And then our 5s are 4 of them, but there's only 2 different cards. There's 2 Gigastorm Titan, 2 Mech and Assembler, and then our 7s remain the Mouth of the Storm and the Pinnacle Killship, and then we've got 8 islands, 8 forests. This deck is dope, right?
Yeah, deck looks sick.
It's so, like, streamlined. I haven't had a deck that was this, like, synergistic, I guess. This color pair, I mean. Okay, cool. So that is our premiere draft. We are geniuses. That's why you listen to us. Traditional draft. Let me in. Ooh, we were 8th. We were the 8th in the queue, Luis. That never happens to us. We're running hot today.
I do like that.
Been feeling like the spaceships have been a little bit on the Winmore side, Luis. Okay, we got pack 1, pick 1. We've got Jus Effete, Harmonist, Emergency Eject, another Gigastorm Titan, Paul's favorite, the Monoist Circuit Feeder, and then
I do like that card.
Yeah, Tannic Memorial Ensign. There's also Depressurized Plasma Bolt, Nutrient Block in this pack. How good is this thing? I've seen people do some just filthy stuff with Jus Effete.
It can be good. It's really good with like Gigastorm Titan and stuff like that.
Can I just take it?
I don't know.
Is the feeder better?
My guess is the feeder is better. I mean, you're not
going to find me complaining about that. I like the circuit feeder a lot.
Zoofit has pretty minimal stats, and my experience with it is it's just okay. I like the circuit feeder a lot. Plus, it's a really fun deck to draft.
Totally. All right. We take mono with Circuit Feeder, pack 1, pick 1. Pack 1, pick 2. There's a Godless Shrine, a Mouth of the Storm, Cut Propulsion, an Umidian Terrabotanist at uncommon. In black, there's a Beamsaw Prospector and a Decode Transmissions. In blue, which is a common pairing with this, there's the Mouth of the Storm, Mechanozoa, and a Lost in Space. If we wanted to do green for some reason, there's Terrabotanist. Can I just mouth it up here?
Yeah, probably. I am not loving taking a 6-drop into a 7-drop, but these cards do work well in blue-black.
I mean, yeah, I like it. Best of 3. We're just gonna have 13 mana worth of cards after 2 picks somehow and try to make it work, I guess. But Mouth of the Storm is just the best card in the pack. Oh, there's also Cut Propulsion, which is decent. But we're going to take Mouth. All right, next up, Lightless Evangel, Eusocial Engineering at uncommon. There's a Mech and Shield Mate. There's a Gravblade Heavy in black. Starbreach Whale.
This pack is really weak. There's no card I'm happy taking. I guess I might just take the Lightless Evangel because it's a decent 2-drop.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but it's so not our vibe. I mean, I guess we could take Mech and Shield Mate, but it's so mid. Yeah, we'll take the Evangel. All right, pack 1, pick 4. All right, here's some stuff. Tragic Trajectory and Caesarean Dirgecraft at uncommon. So 2 black removal spells there. Get on the right trajectory here.
Yeah, I mean, getting a 4th pick trajectory is awesome. This is exactly where you want to be. Not feeling super attached into blue, but now that we have our 3rd black card and more importantly, got 4th pick a pretty good black card. I feel all right about this.
Yeah, that's the -2/-2 and Void -10/-10.
The Fatal Push.
Yes. Okay, so we'll take that. So our picks will be Tragic Trajectory, Lightless Evangel, Mono with Circuit Feeder, nice, and then a Mouth of the Storm that we're kind of looking at over across the room, going, maybe. Maybe we'll let you in the deck. Next up is an Uthro-Psionicist like we have before, the 2/4. There's a Menomenon. There is a Survey Mechan. I know how much you love that card. I do too. And in black, there's a Swarm Color, the 2/4 flyer.
So my guess is the Uthro-Psionicist is just the pick here. Mm-hmm. If you want, we could take Survey Mechan and go down that direction and draft around that a little bit.
I want to do that.
All right. I do want to just say to the folks listening / watching, if you were an Arena Open, I would take the Psionicist here, but I think given the circumstances, I think it'd be more interesting to take the Survey Mechan and try to go down that road.
Yeah, I also like that we have Mouth of the Storm as a top end because it's quite splashable. Although now that I say that, pack 1, pick 6, there's a Tractor Beam and a Cryo Shatter here with no black cards. I would just commit and take the Tractor Beam.
Yeah. I think so.
I've liked Tractor Beam a lot. It's basically a removal spell with upside. It's not that common that the card ends up, back on the other side of the table somehow. So we'll take Tractor Beam. Next up, we've got, there's a Cryo Shatter if we want it. Again, no black cards, maybe vaguely concerning. There's a Scour for Scrap, which I haven't ever seen do anything, a Nanoform Sentinel, but I like the Cryo Shatter here.
Yeah, take Cryo Shatter. Cryo Shatter is good in your kind of controlling spot here.
Yeah, it's really, really effective at that part. I've been impressed by Cryo Shatter. We always make the blue swords to plowshares joke, but it really does do a good job.
I mean, 1 mana -5, and if it takes damage or becomes tapped, it just gets destroyed. Like that's actually a pretty good amount of
that's a lot of action
for one card. It
really is for 1 mana. Yeah. Pack 1, pick 8, Scout for Survivors, Atomic Microsizer, Mental Modulation, Hemosymbic Might, full
I've
board.
actually had some good Microsizer decks, but blue-black is typically not one of them. So I might just take like the Melded Moxite.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's at least a good card. You're probably not going to play it given your start here. Oh man, does no one like Gigastorm Titan here?
What is going on? Pack 1, pick 9, Gigastorm Titan. Yeah, I guess the Psionicist would have been pretty good here. But we'll take the Titan. We'll take the Titan. It's good on its own. There's a Nutrient block here too that we would play, and an Ilvoy Galeblade. That's funny. Those have been paired off against each other all day. They're both in this pack. Pack 1, pick 10. Lost in Space came back.
Sure.
Wow.
I mean, if every single time you draft, the blue's going to be as open as it can ever be, then yeah, it's not that tricky.
I blame you for this, by the way. You're the good luck charm here, because when I draft on my own, it's not like this. I'm like scrapping it out. Now I'm getting pack 10 Lost in Spaces. Pick 11, there's a Mech and Shield Mate. And then a Cloud Sculpt Technician.
That's, whatever.
And then an Ilvoy Operative is our last card. I'm putting that on the sideboard. Okay, pack 2, pick 1. By the way, we have Cryo Shatter, Tragic Trajectory, technically a Mech and Shield Mate, a Lightless Evangel, a Melded Moxite still in there, the Technician, a Lost in Space, a Tractor Beam, a Survey Mechan, a Gigastorm Titan, a Mono Circuit Feeder, and a Mouth of the Storm. This has an Ilvoy Infiltrator or a Sensorian Voidborn, the one that drains them for 1. There's also Alpha Rail, Dreaming Acolyte, the 1 blue-black 2/3. Which is
I would just take Alpha Rail. I think that's just where we're at. Like, I do like the Voidborn in some decks, but it's not even at its best in blue-black, and though you would still play it, of course.
Right.
And Alpha Rail is really nice. It's just a really nice way to get paid off for doing a lot of the things you want to do anyways.
We will take Alpha Rail. The Survey Mechan is looking
grim.
Yeah, not great.
Look, it's fine. There hasn't been an opportunity to do that, and I think that's all right. It just we took a shot. It didn't quite work, but we got some cards here.
Yeah, there's the Eternity Elevator at rare, hasn't been very good. There is another Cryo Shatter. There's also a Grav Pack Monoist, which I really like, and I would take it here, I think.
Mono's totally solid. There is an Embrace Oblivion, but I don't think that's particularly enticing. We don't have any Cryogen Relics or Nutrient Blocks or anything.
Right. If we could wheel that would be sweet. This is only pick 2, so we might get something like that back. The rare,
that wouldn't be crazy.
Hasn't been amazing. So we'll take the Monoist here. All right, pack 2, pick 3. There's a Grav Kill and another Alpha Rail Dreaming Acolyte. I would just Grav Kill. What do you like?
We've got a Cryo Shatter, a Tragic Trajectory, a Lost in Space, and a Tractor Beam. No, I would take Alpha Rail.
Oh, wow. We do have a lot of removal. Okay.
We had a good amount of removal.
Yeah,
it feels
you're right.
fine to just do that.
I'm a big Grav Kill guy, but when we have 4 or 5 removal spells already, yeah, you're totally right. We don't need that. All right. Alpha Rail, Dreaming Acolyte joins another one.
Discard one to the other. Oh, there we go. There's our Cryogen Relic. We haven't hit our quota yet, so.
Yeah, pack 2, pick 4. Actually kind of cool. We got an Unravel and a Hymn of the Faller, but there's also the Goat Cryogen Relic in this pack.
Hymn of the Faller has horrible stats. It's kind of funny.
It's not very good, yeah. You basically have to get both cards off it to make it even be a thing, and that's actually somewhat difficult. So we'll take the Relic here. I would love to get that whatever it's called, the sack removal.
Yeah, the Enter Oblivion or whatever.
Yeah. Pack 2, pick 5, Scour for Scrap, Divert Disaster, or Nutrient Block. There's also an Interceptor Mechan if we want to splash around.
So this is the spot where you could go like Interceptor Mechan, and if you get a little bit of fixing, you can play Survey and Interceptor Mechan in your like blue-black control deck. I would take it here.
I would too. And then
you don't have enough payoffs for Nutrient Block. This is an artifact. You can discard it to Alpha Rail too if you need to.
Okay.
And I think overall you're just going to end up. I'd rather just speculate a little bit here. You're not paying like massive costs to do so.
Right. Pack 2, pick 6. There's a Depressurized here. There's also a Cloud Sculpt Technician and a Mech and Shield Mate, but we're kind of full up on those right now, so we'll take a Depressurized. Good, efficient removal spell. I always think that Alpha Rail should do something when it hits the opponent. It has that vibe. But all it does is 2 damage. Yeah. Pack 2, pick 7. Not much here. There's a Cosmo Goyf and a Seed-Chipped Brood Tender. Both cost the same, the green-black. There's a Scour for Scrap and our colors. I guess we just take the Seed-Chipped Brood Tender. Is there a red card here that we care about? No. Remnant Elemental. Yeah, just none of these are going to make the cut.
You're probably not going to run it, but I think it's fine. Same like this pick, I would probably take the station monitor, the blue-white uncommon that makes an idiot if you
if you
play your
double
second
spell.
spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it here. I mean, again, this we don't have any fixing yet, but a little bit of fixing to get the interceptor mech in, or maybe the station monitor going, or something could be good. I don't think the seed chip brood tender is going to be on the menu. All right, pack 2, pick 9. We did wheel Lost in Space, and
makes passing the grab kill even better because it's like those cards are pretty comparable, right?
They are, yeah.
Much happier having an alpha rail
and we could get
a second alpha rail.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're already maybe even over the mark on removal. All right, well, we got Hilderblade back. Pack 2, pick 10. There's also a Seam Rip. Shattered Wings, whatever. I'll just take it. Black card. Okay, pack 2, pick 11. Nothing. Drill too deep, I guess. Pack 2, pick 12. Blade Heavy.
Much at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and then Azel's Display is the last one. So we've got Cryo Shatter, Tragic Trajectory, Cryogen Relic, Mechan Shield Mate, Depressurized Lightless Evangel. Technically a station monitor in our pile, though that's under question. A Cloud Sculpt Technician, a Graph Pack Mono, 2 Alpha Rail, 2 Lost in Space Tractor Beam, the Interceptor Mechan that we're hoping to get in there somehow, the Survey Mechan, the Gigastorm Titan, the Mono Circuit Feeder, and the Mouth of the Storm. Pack 3, pick 1. Well, there's a Tractor Beam, a Virus Beetle, and a Selfcraft Mechan. Probably still just have the Tractor Beam, right?
I mean, we could Virus Beetle,
but...
No, you're still not really, you're not embracing Oblivion. You're not really doing that much to use Virus Beetle, and Tractor Beam is pretty good. Though you do have 2 Lost in Space. I don't know. I think it's fine. You're just kind of playing controlling here.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the Mouth of the Storm and the Circuit Feeder to try to finish up, but... all right, pack 3, pick 2, Bioengineered Future, Sunken Citadel. There's a Dubious Delicacy. I do like that card. Banishing Light, Peregrine Beckoner.
Dubious Delicacy is amazing.
What is?
Dubious Delicacy is amazing.
Yeah. We have a heck of a lot of removal / interaction. I wouldn't mind a couple of more good threats, That would be kind of what we really want here. But we'll take the Dubious Delicacy here. Card's been great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're that hard up for threats, to be honest. You've got the double Alpha Rail, Codecracker Hound. There you go. That's a big threat. No, you just have a lot of removal, a lot of card draw, and you have a Gigastorm Titan, a Mono Circuit Feeder, a Mouth of the Storm. I feel like you got some moves here.
Okay. Codecracker Hound, pack 3, pick 3. Yes,
you
please.
Love to see it.
There's also Grav Kill in this pack. But...
And you keep Cloud Sculpt Technicians in your pile so much longer than I do. I don't think mine ever hit the main deck pile.
My what? Oh, yeah. I'll move it out. It's gone. It outlived its welcome very quickly. Oh, and plus we really couldn't disrespect Codecracker Hound by having the Technician next to it even in the pile.
Right, exactly.
Virus Beetle, Lost in Space, Mechanozoa. What is this one? Oh, Scrounge for Eternity. And then an Ilvoy Infiltrator. I would just Beetle here. What do you like?
Yeah, get the Beetle in there.
We do want a few extra
you don't need an
things for the Circuit
You want
Feeder.
more 2s like this. I think this all is going to work out much, much better.
Still haven't found a way to cast this Interceptor Mechan. Is it just dead to us, or?
I mean, you didn't even get any lander cards.
No.
So you're pretty far away from it, but it's fine. The Interceptor Mechan was not over much. It was over a Cryo Shatter, I think. And look, here you could take your Uthros Psionicist, though there's a Selfcraft Mechan. You have 1 Relic. You have a Virus Beetle, Mechan Shield Mate, Dubious Delicacy. Kind of liking the Selfcraft, because also one thing to note is you have, well, it's close, because the Codecracker Hound's really good with the Psionicist.
True. I'll do the Mechan. Cryogen Relic, pack 3, pick 6. Oh, and a Virus Beetle too. Wow. Yeah, that was a close one.
So one thing that I was going to note is having a higher density of artifacts is also nice with 2 Alpha Rails in your deck, because sometimes you just get to discard it instead of discarding 2, and it's kind of its own 2-for-1 here.
Yeah, and the Circuit Feeder that we pack 1, pick 1 once artifacts. So Cryogen Relic here. Oh, Requiem Monolith and an Uthros Scanship and another Selfcraft mech in here. What have you thought about the Monolith? It's just okay, right?
Okay. There's games that are good, and then there's games where it's not. I would probably just take another Selfcraft mechanic at this point over to Scanship and the Monolith.
Yeah, especially because we picked up that relic.
Oh, look, you got another virus. This is just working out so nicely. Virus Beetle over Lost in Space, which that's an easy pick. Now that you have double Selfcraft mechanic, double Alpha Rail, you just have a lot of ways to use these Virus Beetles, which is all really I ask. The card does not need much. It really doesn't.
Man.
But
how am I running this hot? Wow, pack 3, pick 9, another Virus Beetle. Or even another Selfcraft.
But I would take the Virus Beetle. I'd rather have 5 things to sack and 2 Selfcrafts than 4 things to sack and 3.
Definitely.
That ratio seems a lot more pleasant. And you have tons of 4s, though. You're going to get to cut. You're just going to cut the Interceptor mechanic and the Survey mechanic. It's going to be fine. Oh, put the Perigee Beckoner in your deck. Oh, that's so good.
Oh, sweet.
If you can set it up, it's 6 mana, but Beckoner on Virus Beetle and then sack it to the Selfcraft mechanic is actually like pretty legit. And honestly, the Beckoner has just been good.
I've been impressed with that card. I have too, really man. Meaty. I think. Well, one of the things I wanted to say this week was like, and this isn't like some sort of stunning insight because I think most people who are playing are on this page, but stats are just really good in this format. I already said that once, but I just want to reiterate, having 4 4s and 5 5s has been more effective here. It seems like the removal doesn't really punish it. Would you bet me money that there is or is not a Magic card called Stunning Insight?
I don't think there is one.
You're correct. Should have bet
I was going to look it
up. Okay, so we've got 43 cards. This isn't like the last one. We kind of like dipped around a little bit and the colors weren't quite as open. At least both of them weren't like before.
And I shamed Marshall into cutting some of the cards that
that are
hanging out there for no reason.
Yeah, the Cloud Sculpt.
This is a 17 lander though.
Yes. And so this time we have 43 cards, so only need to make 3 cuts. Right now we have Cryo Shatter and Tragic Trajectory. I'm going to keep a removal count going. That's 2. We have at the 2s. We have a double Cryogen Relic. We have a Mechan Shield Mate. Can I just kill that right now?
Oh, yeah.
We have a Depressurize, so that's 3. A Lightless Evangel. I want to kill that too. Are these getting sacked? No, actually, with the Mechans maybe. Anyway, whatever. And then triple Virus
We'll
Beetle.
see. That is definitely cuttable, but we'll have to see because I mean this deck I think is actually better than the other one.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, the power level
They're
did
both
get
pretty
there.
good. You did a good job of saving the good ones for when we're doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, Mechanozoa, that one can go.
Which one?
Mechanozoa.
Oh, Mechanozoa, sure, yeah. And then at the 3, we have Codecracker Hound, Dubious Delicacy, Graph Pack Monoist, and 2 Alpha Rail. At the 4, we have 2 Lost in Space, 2 Selfcraft Mechan, and 2 Tractor Beam. By the way, that's 8 removal spells so far. And then at the 5, we have Gigastorm Titan and Perigee Beckoner. And then at the 6 and 7, we have the Monoist Circuit Feeder and the Mouth of the Storm. So we have 8 removal spells plus the Circuit Feeder. We need to make 1 cut.
And this time it's not a land, unfortunately.
No, this is 14
it's
creatures.
Probably a Lightless Evangel. I think. Because like you have, 4 other 2-drops and 2 1-drops that affect the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, for sure. And plus, like, the problem is that even if you recognize a little bit of synergy with the Evangel, like with the Selfcraft Mechans and stuff, it's like, who cares? Like, you made a 3/3. Like, wow. You know,
yeah,
you need to be sacking
it's also going to be a 3/3 at most. It's not going to be.
Yeah. I'd rather just, like, have the Virus Beetles and sack those. Dude, this deck is nice.
This deck looks nice. Yeah. Which one are you more excited to play?
I think I'm a little more excited for the first one. I've had decks like this, maybe not quite this good, but this one, this is I know this deck. You know what? I've drafted similar, like this is my style. But the other one is like
deck's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it came together a little more pointedly. One question I have here: this is 9 Island 8 Swamp, like with the triple Virus Beetle, like. Is there Cryo Shatter's not really a 1-ball? Like, would I consider doing it the other way? 8.
I don't think with the 2 Cryogen Relics.
Okay, and then also the double Tractor Beam needs the islands. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you're better off doing that instead.
Oh man, I'm gonna I'm going to destroy with these decks. I'm stoked
They
for
look
this.
they look really good. I mean, this format is I don't know. I guess the main thing I wish was that the synergies were a little bit better because there are there. I mean, in both decks we have self-craft McCann plus things to sack. I really like that. I love trinkets. I love getting to that trinket gameplay. I find that to be really exciting. And I just love I mean, how many times, Marshall, have you personally watched me draft Tellurian Academy and put chromatic stars in my deck and stuff like that, right?
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do just about. That and like blue-red tempo or like the two decks I like drafting the most. But part of outside of that is I feel like a lot of the synergies in the set aren't super prominent. Like they work, but it's not so much that you're drafting a warp deck or a spaceship deck. And maybe those mechanics don't lend themselves to that as much. But even I guess the +1/+1 counters in green white can sometimes come together really nicely. That's definitely true. But even like the sacrifice decks, yeah, sometimes they work that way, but a lot of times it's like I more feel like I have a black-red deck that has 3 cards that sacrifice things and a couple of things that are good to be sacrificed. I don't really have a black-red sack deck because we've had formats where you have a black-red sack deck, and this has felt a little bit short of that.
Feels like there's been multiple aspects of the set that have fallen a little short, but maybe not like been a disaster, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of want to expand a little bit on what I was talking about with Spacecraft 2 weeks ago now, because I wasn't on the show last week. I feel like it's not that I think that all of them suck, and it's not that I think that they fell vastly short of the mark. I just think as a premier mechanic, a new card type, I do think they fell short of the mark. I do think it would have been better to have them be better. So
just to have them be like less station, maybe a little less mana, or do a little more.
And part of it is that, yes, when you play like a larval Scoutlander, you're kind of getting your money back just full stop. You're casting Sorcery Speed Harrow, sometimes even better, but you're sacking the lander, and that's just a playable card in a lot of formats. But more to the point, it's that when you look at how much of the power is in the creature part of the spacecraft, it's just very little, even on the ones that are good.
Yeah.
And yeah, someone like the Wormwall Interceptor, like frequently, that's a big part of the power is that it's a 2/2 flyer, because that one's kind of easy to crew. And in fact, I wish there were more that felt a little more like that, because I think where they are right now, they're just not quite there.
Yeah, I was talking to John Laux about this last night at poker. You know, he was the
former WotC
co-host,
designer.
WotC designer and former LR co-host. And he's been playing the set, and he was saying that he felt that the spacecraft were maybe a little bit on the win-more side of things. Like if you're behind, they're not quite good enough. Even the removal spell ones are too clunky that you're paying 5 mana to kill something smaller. But if you're ahead, it like you play one of those and it kills their thing, and then you also have the resources to crew it up or station it up or whatever. Great and actually point. Get the creature. And it's like, that's probably the least important style of card to make. There is a place in this world for cards that kind of slam the door on the game in an interesting or explosive way. There's a certain subset of players that really enjoy that type of stuff. But when it comes to like win rates, those cards are not that valuable. And since it is a premium and new card type mechanic, and since it is, at every rarity in this set, particularly at uncommon, it kind of feels like, I would have been much happier with those being solid mid-range type cards rather than a little bit more towards the win more side of things. And I think that your solution would solve it if they were just better, then they wouldn't be relegated to this category where it's like, well, you kind of need to be winning to really take full advantage of these things, and then they're good, versus, oh, we're at parity and I had a spacecraft and I kind of, it put me ahead a little bit or whatever. I wouldn't call them a full miss. Like I think the gameplay is
I'm not
fine.
saying they are.
Yeah. No, I know. And
I think John's point is really true, because when you're ahead and you can afford to just tap all your creatures because they're not attacking you, then the spacecraft, you play the Caesarean Dirgecraft, eat one of their things, then just tap 2 of your things. Now you just played a 4/3. It worked out great.
Right. You get to realize the full 2-for-1 aspect. Yeah. But if you're behind, you're like, I paid 5 mana to kill your choice of your worst non-token creature, and I never even got to station the thing up. I mean, that's a very different gameplay experience for these type of cards. Yeah, I don't know. I also, though, am sympathetic to the designers in that way because, man, if they just made these things too good, like if they just came out of the gates and it's just like, you can't ever pass a spacecraft, like they're so awesome, or, you know, maybe even we would be complaining that they're too good or something along those lines.
I'm not saying like if you made it so all the spacecraft cost one less mana than they do currently, then a lot of them would do way too good or whatever, you know, like any sort of buff. And there's clearly places you can land that are too good, and I'm sympathetic to not wanting to land too high, but I think they landed too low. And I'm not saying it's a super easy thing to keep in mind or to figure out. I'm just saying there are knobs you can turn, and I don't think they landed in the optimal place with these particular knobs.
Yeah. And I think the other note that came out from the conversation I had with John and some of the other Magic players at poker last night was it really, we mentioned this early, but it has held, which is that Edge of Eternities really does feel like it's in the shadow of Final Fantasy. And what particularly not just, it's already tough enough if you have a really great set like Final Fantasy and then the next set, you know, has to follow it up. That's already difficult. But the fact that it does feel like it got pulled earlier, it did. You know, we just didn't have quite as much time with Final Fantasy as a normal one. And we're going to get what's going to feel like extra time with Edge of Eternities. I mean, we've got a couple of months ahead of us where
it's
we're
a brutal
not
run
having
out
much
how
else.
How it ended up being like shortened timeline Final Fantasy, extra Edge of Eternities, you know?
Exactly. And I think that you feel that from the player base, you know, where it's like, I don't know. I don't hear people saying Edge of Eternities is like trash. I don't think it is either. It's not on that level where they're just like, this sucks, but it does feel kind of flat emotionally compared to what we had before. And the fact that we've got this long runway with it is like, I mean, I'm drafting it and stuff, so it's checking the box. It's just, it doesn't have that feeling of like excitement around it. And it doesn't quite have, it feels like it won't have that really long runway that you get around the sets that are like more complicated or have more build around cards or where they really stick the landing on the core mechanics or whatever. This one feels, you know, like a checkbox set to me, right? Like one that when we do the sunset, we're like, that was a good set. Like that was fine. What's next? You know, but not one where we're like, dude, I can't wait for them to bring back Edge of Eternities or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of how I feel about it right now. But these things also can change sometime. And I mentioned it before, but you know, the Pro Tour format is going to be Edge of Eternities, and it's going to be really interesting because the last multiple PTs have all been like 10-day turnarounds where it's just like we're scrambling just to know the card names by the time, you know, we get on the air and the players are just like getting some semblance of the format together. And now it's going to be like solved. I mean, this is going to be like, if you want to be good at limited at the PT and you're qualified, you have no excuses. Like you can take all the time you need to really study up. And, but when everybody knows that, I'm curious to see how, you know, that plays out as well. Okay, Luis, let's call it a show there.
I was just going to say what ends up happening is there are no hidden gems. There are fewer hidden gems at this point in time anyway, just because of how Magic works and things like 17 lands. But when you have a PT that's late in the set cycle, it's like everyone is really set on, and you're just not going to get too many gifts there. I mean, every now and then you find someone who hasn't drafted enough still, but there's no excuse if you're like flying to the Pro Tour and spending all this time and effort. Like it's this far after set release. If you don't have like 30 drafts, like. And if you don't have time, you don't have time. Whatever. I'm not really trying to tell people how they should prioritize their time. I just would find it surprising that you wouldn't invest a decent amount of time in what's 6 out of the 16 rounds of competition. And the rounds where I feel like you can get your biggest edge or lose your biggest edge if you don't practice.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I expect high level play at the PT at the limit. I don't think we'll have people slipping through the cracks like we sometimes see. It's just too much equity to give up to not just jam a bunch of drafts. All right, let's call it a show there, Luis. If you want to find us on social media, Marshall_LR and Luis's LSV, pretty much everywhere. You can find us over at lrcast.com. Make sure you check out Luis's YouTube channel for daily draft videos over there. Mainly Vintage Cube these days, Luis.
Mostly Cube. I do other things, you know, from time to time, but I love Vintage Cube. I have drafted it every day, more than one time per day on average. Over the last couple of years, and not like 2 years or so, and I'm excited about doing the next one. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not tired of it. So
Yeah,
I found a repeatable thing that I would love to do.
Vintage Cube is goated. Anyway, you can check out Luis's YouTube channel. It's on the front page of LRcast, or it's just at LSV. And you can ride along with him as he surfs the Vintage Cube waves every single day. We want to thank Ultimate Guard as well as everybody who supports us over on Patreon for their support of the show as well. That's going to do it for this one. We will see you next week.
So speaking of Vintage Cube, there's a card I just added from Edge of Eternities, the Endstone. You're familiar with this card, I take it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So guess what's happened? Guess what the secret text on Endstone is?
I don't know. I don't mill yourself.
Basically, about 25% of the time I've seen this card in play, the controller has gotten decked.
Yeah, I've
awesome.
seen it too.
It's so cool. I actually think it's a really fun card because of that. And it actually adds to my enjoyment of the card itself, that just a good amount of the time that you play this card, like you're going to have to figure out either way to get it off the board or to win before it decks you. But every game action you take, basically, you draw a card. Every time you play a land or play a spell. And I have just seen that happen time and time again, that it has made me like the card a lot. It also, in regular draft, I'm sure you've had this experience, they play an Endstone, you can't remove it. Quickly, it becomes clear you're never going to win the game, except, what if they deck themselves?
Yes.
But if you kill the first 3 threats and they've spent a couple turns just drawing all the cards, because that's what you do, right? When you play and you have 23 cards in your deck, you're like, yeah, play a land, play 2 spells, go off. But then all of a sudden you kill a couple things and you end up in a spot where it's like, oh, they have 7 cards left and you're at 18. They need to be really judicious about which cards they play. They only get to play 3 more cards this game, 2 more cards this game. And I've had my experience most of the time, the Permanent Endstone still wins those games, but it is pretty exciting.
I do a library check immediately upon an Endstone hitting the battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we at?
You got to. Why else why would you not?